What's up, Crossbones Nation? This is another episode of the Five Rounds with John and Eddie podcast. As always, all of our podcasts are affiliated with our website, crossbonesmma.com, and we have some partners on there that we work with. Number one is Onnit. Onnit is a total human optimization website, giving you access to healthy foods, supplements, muscle building exercises, weights, exercise equipment, anything you need to optimize your body and create a better version of you is there on the site. We're also hooked up with NatureBox. NatureBox will send pre-packaged snacks right to your front door. You don't have to worry about going out to the store and buying a big box and having it separated into smaller packages. They do all the work for you. They mail it right to you. You can choose from hundreds of choices and every month switch it up. Every time you place an order, pick something new, see what you like, and then go with that. Every time it comes to the door, you got all your months or all your weeks snacks for you ready to go in prepackaged bags. Totally healthy. Well, not totally healthy, as Eddie mentioned on Bad Decisions the other day. Some of the stuff's not that healthy, but the majority of it's good. So make sure you guys check that out. If you're looking for a membership meal plan that can help take the guesswork out of cooking and making sure you're eating the right things, check out F3 Foods. F3 Foods will give you breakfast, lunch, and dinner, hook you up with the 3 meals that you need every day to make sure that you're staying fit and lean. They'll make sure that all your foods come prepackaged, ready to throw in the microwave, on the stove, whatever you need to eat. You may bring it to work with you. It's easy to do. And these guys make good tasting food, nothing crazy, nothing out of the ordinary, all good food that's going to make sure that you stay healthy and stay on top of your game. We're part of Troxafen. Troxafen is a free testosterone booster. If you go to troxafen.com, you can check out a whole bunch of different supplements that'll help boost free testosterone in your system, help build lean muscle, and also to drop body fat. It used to be just for guys, but now they have supplements up there for girls that work just as well. So make sure you check out Troxafen as well. If you go to the website, you can click on our Amazon link. If you go to any type of online shopping that you do, check out Amazon.com. They have everything from books to music, cat litter, toilet paper, anything that you need. You go on there through our website. It doesn't cost you any more, but Amazon.com kicks us a little back at the end from their end of it and helps support the website and help support the podcast. So make sure you check out Amazon.com link through the Crossbones MMA website. And then last but not least is DraftKings. DraftKings is bringing fantasy sports to MMA. You get a salary cap, you get 5 fighters that you have to choose from, and they get points based on different things: striking accuracy, how many strikes they've thrown. They're giving away over $1 billion this year. Last year they gave out over $300 million. They had 30 guys that won $1 million just playing MMA fantasy sports. How crazy is that? So make sure you guys get your portion of that by going to DraftKings.com, or you can go to CrossbonesMMA.com, check out the website, click on any of the banners you want, or you can click on the store and affiliates page and get access to all of our things. So Onnit, NatureBox, F3 Foods, DraftKings, Amazon, and Troxafen are all there waiting for you. But without any further delay, let's get right into the show today, and I'm going to welcome in Eddie Law.
What's up, man?
What's going on?
I wish I was more awake for everybody, but again, like I was telling you before we got on, I'm finding out how hard it is to take care of a 2-year-old, even for a freaking Saturday. So, yeah, man, putting kids to sleep. I didn't choke him out, but I thought about it. So, luckily, he's a good kid. He was like, oh, I better just go to sleep now. So, he's actually passed out right now, so hopefully he gives us enough time to do the whole show without hearing any screaming, so we should be all right. How you doing, man?
I'm doing all right. I'm getting snowed in once again. It's coming down like a bastard out there. I think they're saying more accumulation, so it's just a never-ending process. But supposedly we're going to have a crazy heat wave tomorrow. It's supposed to get up into like the mid to upper 30s, so it's definitely a pool day here in Pennsylvania. But we got a lot to go over, a lot to talk about. Something that just happened, within, I guess, an hour ago, was the weigh-ins for tomorrow night's UFC event. And hold up, breaking news, nobody missed weight. How crazy is that? Everybody that weighed in today made weight, except for the two guys that didn't weigh in because he passed out before the weigh-ins. So, Eddie, I'm going to kick it over to you because you watched them, you saw them live. Tell me what happened here.
All right, so the weigh-ins are pretty good overall. Josh Shockley came on looking like the freaking hippie that he usually looks like. Just going off on the weigh-ins, let's just start off with the first fight. And now I can't find exactly which fight it was. I know it's T.J. Wahlberger against. Now I'm gonna be mad because I can't remember who he was gonna fight, but I'll get it in like 5 minutes. Watch. But anyway, so that T.J. Wahlberger passes out. Him and his opponent get paid show money, which is great. It's always nice to see that. Which tells me that it's not 100%. I mean, I guess they're pretty sure it's not 100% Wahlberger's fault that he passed out.
He was going to fight Wendell Oliveira.
There you go. And that sucks because Wendell's a good fighter. He's fun to watch. So, yeah. So I mean, it sucks we get one less fight, but the weigh-ins overall are pretty like uneventful. Only for example, the Willie Macario, the Patolino against Matt Dwyer, face off, whatever. They were pretty serious. And as they were talking about during the broadcast, Patolino actually printed out a bunch of pictures of Matt Dwyer and put them all over his hotel room. So you got a problem, dude. You need to stop doing that shit. That's some stalker shit right there. And then Jessica Andrade against Mary Now. They were pretty serious too. The chicks are always kind of crazy on the face-offs. I mean, usually if you get two girls and they go up and they do the face-off whatever after the weigh-ins, if they're really nice to each other, you're like, okay, it's gonna be whatever. Not Jessica and Marion. They were in each other's faces. They weren't too crazy, but they were real intense. So that's always a fun one. Which other one was kind of crazy? Frankie Sands against Yuri Alcantara. They were pretty serious. And then the one that got the kind of you always get those face-offs. They kind of give you like a chill in your spine a little bit, like get you like, oh shit, I can't wait. Edson Barbosa and Michael Johnson. Man, was that intense. They weren't like, it was nothing like I'm gonna kill you. Like they weren't talking shit or anything. They were just in each other's faces. And after Joe Silva said, all right, guys, they didn't move. And then he did it again. He's like, all right, guys, nothing. Like, okay, dude, you go, right? And then, of course, Bigfoot and Frank Mir, they just, shook hands, hugged it out, and moved on. But here's an interesting note. Frank Mir came in at, I believe, 261 pounds, which is heavy as shit for Frank Mir. In fact, last time he weighed in at 261 against Junior Dos Santos at UFC 148. And then since then he was going down, little by little. I think last time the lowest I've heard him weigh in was a 248 against Barnett. I forget when that was, but yeah, I mean he weighed in heavy. So I'm wondering if that's part of his plan. Maybe packed on muscle, or maybe he's gonna try and get on top of Bigfoot and do something from the top. But overall it's pretty uneventful. But just like you said, man, nobody missed weight. Usually I'm usually sitting watching the weigh-ins going, this guy looks heavy. He ain't gonna make it. You know what I mean? Like I thought Patolino for sure threw on like a few pounds of muscle because he looked huge for his weight, and no, he came in right on point. A couple of people came underweight, which is kind of weird. Like Mary Renau came in underweight, I think, by a little bit, and so yeah, everyone made weight. So what makes me wonder about that though is as soon as you start seeing guys miss weight and then start fainting and stuff, I'm wondering if the new the new announcement for punishments for PEDs is starting to cut into that, guys to start missing weight a little more in the States, because this was in Brazil. So in Brazil, they're like, screw it, I get away with whatever. But when it gets back to the U.S., starting with UFC 184 next weekend, I'm wondering if the new punishments set up for PEDs, if the use of diuretics and other stuff is going to start cutting down. And if we're going to see a bunch of guys miss weight next weekend, I'm really, really curious about how that's going to affect that. But I haven't heard anything for this card yet as far as PEDs, and we're not going to hear anything until Monday, Tuesday anyway, because that's what the commissions do, is they wait till after the fights to get people busted.
Yeah, and it's definitely an interesting take with the whole PEDs and everything. If it's going to lead into people missing weight. Another interesting thing that I heard was that you're going to see a lot of people changing weight classes possibly, because they won't have that effect to add weight by putting on lean muscle, or they won't be able to drop weight by using the diuretics and other substances that they use to cut weight. So it'll be very interesting over the next couple of events to see if there is an influx of failures or people fighting in new weight classes. It's definitely something that goes in there. But it's interesting that you said Frank Mir came in at 261. He has to be under 265. So I'm curious to how heavy he's going to be tomorrow night, or if you think, or you saw it, you think he's going to be 261, 262 tomorrow night because that's
Dude,
just what he's at?
that's just what he walks around at. And Frank Mir, I don't think has ever had to cut weight as far as the UFC goes. Most of those guys don't have to. Only guys like Mark Hunt. Look, Bigfoot came in at 264. Pretty sure he had to cut a little bit of weight just to make weight. So that dude, I'm pretty sure walks around at like 300 when he's not in training camp. So no, Frank Mir didn't cut shit weight. That dude, he was up there looking all happy and shaking hands with people and whatnot. Usually when we see guys having to cut weight, like Bigfoot usually looks pretty pissed off. You can't mean mug a guy that's smiling at you and then shaking your hand, So, or at least you can, but you're kind of a dick if you do it. So, Frank Mir didn't have to cut weight for anything. He's just one of those guys that's always just walked in and him and who else does it? Brendan Schaub's friend Matt Mitrione. He always wears jeans to the scale. He don't cut weight for anything either. A lot of these guys, that's why they love the heavyweight division. Hell, that's why Pat Barry did it. Pat Barry, everyone was screaming at him at 5'9" or whatever he is to go down to 205 and fight there. And Pat Barry is like, dude, I don't cut weight at heavyweight. Screw that. I'm not going anywhere. So it's one of those things. It's an advantage of being a heavyweight.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we see it a lot, and it's funny because you get the guys that, like Uriah Faber, didn't used to cut weight when he was fighting in WEC and even when he first came into the UFC. It's unusual for guys to fight in their natural weight class, but when we see guys like Faber who had so much success fighting at a natural weight class because he didn't have to worry about cutting weight, he just monitored what he ate all the time. He was able to eat his normal diet. Didn't affect him mentally. Didn't affect him physically. I think it's a key that a lot of these fighters don't take into effect or take that aspect into it, that they're cutting weight to try to get that competitive advantage, but their opponent is cutting just as much weight as they are. So there's really no competitive advantage to doing it, other than if a guy is cutting 15, 20 pounds to fight a guy who's naturally like that weight, that lower weight class. So it's kind of a strange situation because you're really not getting any advantage if both guys are dropping weight to make a weight class and then just putting it all back on the day before. If anything, it leads to what we've seen here with guys passing out for bad weight cuts, guys missing weight horribly, not to mention the damage that the permanent damage that they can do because they're dehydrating themselves so deeply to make that weight. And then, when they get punched in the head, the brain is surrounded by fluid, and that's what protects it and cushions it. But when all of a sudden these guys are cutting all that water weight, all that liquid weight out of their body, that part, their brain is less protected than usual. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see how it all plays out, how guys deal with that, if they're going to start changing weight classes, if they're going to just try to be more diligent with their weight. But we'll have to wait and see. It's, as always with the UFC, it's a waiting game.
Hey, real quick, I'm not putting anyone on blast because I don't even know this guy's for real. But literally, while you were talking, my phone buzzed with a notification on Twitter. Some guy followed me on Twitter. His first tweet, first of all, his bio says high quality certified medicines available. And his first tweet is, hey everyone, I have got steroids, testosterone boosters plus more. High quality and UKAS certified. I have got steroids. Get the fuck out of here.
Nice.
I find that shit hilarious. Like, while we're talking about this kind of shit. I don't know. Anyway, sorry, continue.
No, that's all right. But, yeah, you can get anything. It's like you can find anything on the internet. You can get anything on Twitter. No doubt about that. But, it's pretty funny to see some of the people that they take advantage of those things. But we're definitely, like what I was saying, is it's a waiting game now to see how things turn out with the UFC with the new policy. Now, did they? You actually did a little bit more with that than I did. Did they say that's an immediate thing or is it taking place as of July 1st, or did they go into that when it goes into effect?
Yeah, I believe it said June 1st or July 1st. Oh, damn, now I'm mixed up. But it's one of those, all right? So it's the first of either June or July start. It comes into effect because they need time to set everything up. Like they were saying during the press conference, Lorenzo and Dana were talking about, they had been working on it, But with Anderson Silva failing and Hector Lombard failing and all those failures that they had on the steroid front or on the PD front, they felt like they had to just come out and at least let people know it's going to happen and then speed it up big time. I mean, they were throwing out every stat they could think of, and then on top of it, they were saying, look, we spent $500,000 in the last how many ever years on added competition testing. Now we're going to be spending millions, is what they said. So they're going to be spending millions. They're going to take it serious. But I want to say it's going to be June 1st when they're going to start. Let me, I don't know, look it up real quick.
Yeah, and either way, it basically is just giving the fighters a heads up that, hey, as of this date, we're going to test you, or we're going to try to test you. So it's definitely. It's coming, but once again, as we said multiple times just on today's show, it's a wait and see process. It's baby steps. It's not it's not hit the ground running type of thing here with the UFC and with this, with these things going in. And part of that falls on them, but part of that also falls on the commissions that they're dealing with, because essentially what the UFC is saying is they're asking the commissions to test every fighter on every card, and they will kick in for that additional funds, the additional fees that are involved. So basically they're saying, we'll give you the money for it. We don't want to do any of it, but we'd like you to do it. And, so they're putting it out there. It's a good PR move for them, because if the commission doesn't test everybody, the UFC says, hey, you know what, we wanted them to. It's not our fault. But, it's up to the commissions, essentially at this point to say, yes, we'll test everybody, and we just need X amount of dollars from you to make it happen. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes, see if certain commissions do it, if other commissions don't. It's all going to be, like I said, it's all going to be a wait and see game.
Right, and the thing is, and it's on right here, what the plan they laid out, an anti-doping plan, is it promises basically random at a competition drug test for all main event and championship bout fighters, and as well as for as fight night testing for every competitor on the card, and no matter where they are. And it says that it's going to be a surprise test for any fighter at any time, regardless of whether they have a bout agreement signed or not. And it's all going to be through a reputable third-party agency. And while they didn't specify which one it was, that's the idea. And they're saying that it's all going to come together by July 1st. And to me, the biggest thing that came out of that whole statement they put out, or that what they said in the press conference, is that they support suspensions of 2 to possibly 4 years for first-time offenders. That's the UFC maybe almost telling the commissions of what to do. So it's going to be really hard to get this stuff all set up by July 1st. I'm going to go ahead and assume that they're going to end up pushing that date to a later date, maybe August or further out, because getting all these commissions I think getting all these commissions. Look, man, we've all seen the Nevada State Athletic Commission on Fight Pass more than once. I hate this. Man, they're intelligent in their own right, but as a whole, they're not that smart. They're not that competent. They, as a whole, entity, the NSAC, and I can get shit for that, and I won't even care, because if you've seen them on Fight Pass, if you've seen the kind of crowd they pulled in the last few years alone, you can't say I'm completely wrong that they might be kind of stupid. So I think it's gonna be really hard to get all these commissions to work together and to work with the UFC to start punishing first-time offenders 2 to 4 years possibly. But I think if you're going to get all these guys to stop doping up, that's kind of the step you're going to have to take. And again, to get it all done by July 1st, in my opinion, is a tall order. If anyone's going to try and pull it off, though, it's going to be the UFC. And even then, when it gets put together, we're going to run into problems, just like the Reebok deal, just like every other thing the UFC's ever done. It's kind of on the fly, trying to make changes and learn to see what works and what doesn't.
Yeah, and the other thing, and I know we've said it, I've seen it out there. People have to take into account that MMA as a sport is really just in its infancy. I mean, baseball is a little over 100 years old, I think. I might be even older than that, to be honest with you. I don't follow it that much. But, for the majority of sports, they've been around 60, 70, 80, 90 years or more. The UFC is 20 years old. So this is essentially, you were talking about, raising, helping out with your 2-year-old nephew earlier. This is a 2-year-old nephew that, we're all dealing with here. It's learning how to, how to come into their own, learning how to get all these things out of the way. And it's just the fact that the sport has grown in such popularity so quickly and has so many eyes on it that it opens itself up to extreme criticism when things go wrong because there's so many people looking at it from both angles. People who love it to death and want nothing but the best. People who can't stand it and want it to fail. It's a polarizing sport. MMA is. So it's definitely an opportunity for opinions to clash or people to have offsetting views on things. And anytime something comes up, especially something like performance-enhancing drugs, it's definitely going to throw it all into a spin and all into a mix. And now we just have to see what comes out in the wash. That's pretty much where we're at this point.
Right, and we actually have a question from one of our friends that watches the show, Andrew Reed. He asks, is ephedrine on the current UFC ban list? And so I was literally doing research right now while you were talking. Ephedrine is banned by the UFC because and it's banned by WADA more importantly.
It's a stimulant.
Exactly. If you get busted in the Olympics with ephedrine, there goes 4 years of work. But it's got a little asterisk next to it, and it says ephedrine prohibited when the concentration of either in urine is greater, or sorry, not either. Ephedrine and methylephedrine prohibited when the concentration of either in urine is greater than 10 micrograms per milliliter. No clue what that means, but I'm assuming it's small. It's big enough to get caught.
Yeah, I mean, if for people who don't realize what ephedra is a stimulant, and if you remember the things like Stacker and those types of pills that people were buying over the counter at one point, they were all ephedra. I mean, you can essentially make an ephedra stack at your house with the right ingredients. Obviously, you can make anything in your house with the right ingredients, but it's aspirin to lean the blood out. It's a stimulant to help increase blood flow and the heart rate. So anything that is going to do that, which will aid in weight loss, is going to be banned by most, I should say, athletic commissions and bodies. Clearly, in this case, we have the Olympic testing saying that it's a banned substance. But yeah, ephedra is definitely on that list of things that you can and can't do.
Yeah, and I didn't know ephedrine was banned by well, not that I knew it was banned, but they pulled it off the shelves years ago. Some of my friends that used to be bodybuilders and they get mad these days, like, oh, all these supplements that they sell now suck because they don't have ephedrine and all these other stimulants. But hey, man, don't worry. Scientists are working night and day to make more money off of you by making more shit that's gonna destroy your body, but give you that edge that you want in the weight room for sure.
Oh, ephedra was a killer thing to take. I mean, that was one of the few things that you took it and you knew it was working. You felt yourself going. So, just the fact that they took it off store shelves, you can't buy it anymore, just shows, what was going on. But essentially what happened was people were taking it who had pre-existing heart conditions, and it was too much for them, and they had heart attacks, and they died, and it became an unsafe supplement, and that's why it got taken off the shelves and banned from public sale. So it's same thing as always. You're always going to get one or two people that react adversely to something. If you look at any TV show and you watch any medical commercial that comes on in between, half the side effects sound worse than the freaking thing that you're trying to stop by taking the pill in the first place. So everybody's going to react, or certain people will react, negatively to pretty much anything. So, but that was the case with ephedra and why it happened. But that's definitely a good question. So, thanks for sending that in. I didn't catch the name that you said, but
Andrew Reed. He's him and I go back and forth all the time. In fact, yesterday we were talking about whether I think it was Brock Lesnar with the new juice, PED or punishments that are going to come up, whether Brock Lesnar is going to make is going to be able to come back to the UFC or not.
Yeah,
so
that's an interesting thing because
here it is. After the announcement on PEDs, I think we can safely say Brock Lesnar won't be making a return to the UFC anytime soon. Possible.
It's possible, but you gotta also figure that how much of that is at this point in his life is he done and over with. Supposedly he's been dropping weight. He's been leaning out to get back into fighting shape. Not just WWE shape, but it's definitely going to be something that comes into effect. He's, by all accounts and by everybody that I've ever spoken to, he's an all-natural dude. He's just like a fucking monster. But people would have, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, people would have said that Anderson Silva was an all-natural dude too. And we see where we're at here. So, it's definitely something that is warrants a good question, but we'll have to take that into account. But talking about Silva, uh, Silva is still claiming his innocence, and he released a statement. And I had it here. Hold on, let me just pull that back up for you. And I gotta say, he's starting to convince me a little bit. And bear with me on my train of thought here. He essentially got caught red-handed, not once but twice now. And for me, in my mind, the fact that he's continuing to claim his innocence, no knowledge of any of these things in his system, I never took them, I never believed in them. Well, let me read this. It says, in respect to my fans, I will not say anything about who I am or what I went through to get here. What matters to me is the respect from those who have followed my career. I bled, struggled, and fought because I love it and because I've always wanted to honor the flag of the country I love so much. I don't know what to apologize for because I am still waiting for results of the analysis from the specialists that are working to reveal the truth. Everything that I took since my injury are being analyzed. I look for the truth as much as all those who were surprised with the results. I always played clean. I was never a cheater. In 18 years of my career, I never had a problem with exams. I'm guessing he means testing. In and out of the octagon, I never slipped in compliance with the principles that always guided me. With much honor and dignity, I defended my country wherever I fought. I never used any substances to better my performance in my fights. I love what I do, and I would never risk what I took so long to build. I think that the hurry some people have to condemn me is unfair. The time it takes to destroy a reputation is infinitely less than that is taken to build it. I'm the one who is the most eager to settle this situation. I want those of you who support me to know I'm still fighting for all the sad happenings of this situation to be cleared. So my point here is, like I said, he kind of got caught red-handed, not once but twice, but he's still proclaiming his innocence. At this point, if he knows honestly in his mind that he took something, he failed the test, and he's still claiming all this innocence, this is just going to, in the long run, damage his reputation more and more because he's going to come across as a liar and a cheater now. So part of me is like, you know what, reading those words, and it might have been a prepared statement, who knows, but reading the words that he's putting out there, he's signing off on being distributed on his behalf, it seems to me like he's got a serious, want and need to save his reputation, save his career, save his good name. So maybe the fact that he's still proclaiming this innocence, maybe there's something to it that he didn't rightfully or knowingly take something. What do you think about that?
I have a hard time believing it, just because. I've been skeptical of basically anybody that has had the pressure that a champion has had in his career. You know what I mean? You go back to baseball again. A-Rod, taking it and when he was with the Texas Rangers because he needed to perform, and then getting signed with the Yankees. That pressure that New York and the New York media and those people give you is incredible. It's crazy. It's the number one highest pressure city in the world, not next to Philly's way under it, but Philly's right there too. But A-Rod ended up juicing, and he did it multiple times, and he got caught multiple times, and now he wants to say sorry and come back. Another example is Lance Armstrong. Lance Armstrong went as far as to sue people. Right? He sued people in order to keep his reputation. So with the whole Lance. Okay, look, I just can't believe somebody that went ahead and got busted twice already. And like I was saying, the Lance Armstrong example, that guy came out and fought for his reputation, sued people for his reputation. I'm glad still haven't done that yet. But look, I don't believe he did it, that he did PED's entire career. It's hard for me to believe that. At the same time, I think he knew what he was doing, or he asked for a little help, or he asked that 57-year-old freaking monster that's his freaking trainer that's juiced to the freaking eyelids for help. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, look, man, I know your leg hurts, but I got something. We just, it's going to take a couple seconds here, and it's going to feel better. You want it or not? Come on, you want it or not? And so, I look, man, I want to believe in Anderson Silva. Even though I was backing Nick Diaz like a motherfucker in that last fight, I'm still a fan of Anderson Silva. I mean, that dude's always fun to watch. Hell, I backed Chael Sonnen twice against him, a known juicer, and I didn't give two shits. I just wanted to see Anderson Silva for some reason lose, because that's what you want out of the fabled big time hero, I guess, out of the hero stories. And I'm a big fan of bad guys. This is me. But Anderson Silva, I just have a hard time believing that he didn't know. I have a really, really, really hard time believing he didn't know. I have a hard time believing someone came up to him and just injected him real quick without him noticing, or they put it in his kill shake or whatever the hell he was doing. It's just I just wish he would come out and be 100% honest, because I can accept that, right? I accept the Chael Sonnen saying, hey, look, I did it. My bad, but I did it. I'm not gonna fight you guys on it. I'm at the mercy of the commission, whatever, and suspend me for 2 years, whatever it was. I don't like being lied to, as nobody else likes being lied to. Vanderlei Silva saying, oh, he didn't, I didn't know that the testing guy didn't identify himself, and he made up a bunch of crap before it came out. The Silva literally ran out the back door. Again, with the Lance Armstrong thing, he lied to so many people that now he's the number one hated person, and he's got to pay back $10 million. A-Rod can't walk down the street without getting called a juicer, outside of New York, of course. It's just a lot of lip service to me, and I just want him to come out and be super honest. If Anderson Silva came out today and said, look, I made a mistake, I freaked out, I had a bad injury, and I wanted to come back, at least somewhere near what I used to be, I could accept that. I could 100% accept that. What I can't accept is if anything else comes out, if anything comes out, a receipt with his signature on it, anything comes out that further proves that he knew he was doing it, I lose all respect for Anderson Silva. Even if it was just for one fight, I still lose it, right? But just because martial arts is supposed to be about respect and honor, and even though a lot of athletes have already screwed that up, but with Anderson Silva, he was that one guy that you could say respected and had everything good about martial arts in him, and now it's a huge question mark about him.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And with him, like I said, he's how do you put this? I'm hoping for the best for him. I guess that's the easiest way to say it. Is I'd love for him to prove them all wrong, and oh, you accidentally tested somebody else, it wasn't me, and it's all cleared now, because of what he meant to the sport and what he means to the sport. I absolutely agree with you, and I totally am, in line with you with the whole, if you did it, just do it. You just say you did it. Chael Sonnen never wavered, never said, no, I didn't do it. He absolutely just came out and said, yep, I did, he just came clean with it, and I think that's the best way to do it, because the public in general and fans of an organization are super, super lenient, super, accepting. And if he just came out and said, I was really worried about my leg and how it was going to react, and I didn't want to let you guys down, and I'm sorry I messed up, I don't think there's anybody that would hold it against him. I really don't. But now that he's going on this crusade, it wasn't me, I didn't take it. I've now failed 2 tests, but it still wasn't me, I didn't take anything. It's starting to get, to the point where you got to wonder. But like I said, I'm hoping for the best for him. But another fighter that we recently talked about, and not anything to do with performance-enhancing drugs, so let's not make that connection. But Phil Davis recently fought Ryan Bader on the card in Sweden. Had a lackluster fight here, but it was the last fight on his contract. His contract is currently expired with the UFC, and it's possibly due to the fact that he has those lackluster fights, that they weren't in a big rush to sign him. Now, is this going to be a mistake for the UFC? Are they going to end up paying more in the long run if he goes out and gets options or gets, quotes or so to speak, from other organizations like Bellator, like World Series of Fighting? What do you think about that, Eddie? Is Davis having his contract expire and not getting renewed quickly, is it going to cost the UFC more in the long run?
You know what? I don't think so. Just coming off a loss, if he had beat Ryan Bader, he's getting paid. But even then, you can't. It's hard for me to say that just let him go to Bellator, just let him go anywhere else, because he's 10-3 in the UFC. He wins fights. He goes on winning streaks. He had 3 in a row before Anthony Johnson threw him around like a rag doll, and before that he had a friggin' 5-fight or 5-fight win streak. Before he lost to Rashad Evans in 2012. It's just he's a good fighter. He's a good wrestler. Look, you win however you gotta win. As unpopular as getting on top of people and humping them is, it's one of those things where you know it's hard to let him go. And especially if he improves his hands. If he improves his hands and stops poking people in the eyes, I can see him becoming an exciting fighter. But it's what the UFC has to figure out what it's looking for in its fighters. Does it want martial artists who win, who do whatever they got to do to win, who are good wrestlers, good ground game guys, or do they want exciting fighters, stand-up guys like Joe Schillings of the world, which I still don't know why he's not in the UFC. Do they want just a bunch of strikers, guys that will only stand up, guys that will not go to the ground, guys that won't wrestle? It just depends. They got to figure out what they're looking for in their athletes. And with Phil Davis, I'm not saying, look, he losing to Ryan Bader is not helping him. And believe me when I say that they're going to bring that up in their meeting, in their contract negotiations. But at the same time, it's one of those things where you got to you got to pay the guy because he's good. And by the way, you're still muted. Oh, I think you're on the phone. My bad. All right. So anyway, so Phil Davis has to go down exactly what he's done in the last few fights. He lost to Ryan Bader. Before that, he actually beat Glover Teixeira via decision at UFC 179. Before that, he got ragged up by Anthony Johnson. But look at the names that he's beaten. Wagner Prado, Vinny Magalhães, Lyoto Machida, he beat by decision, as weird of a decision as that was, I believe. Antonio Rogério Nogueira, Tim Bosch, Rodney Wallace. He beat Alexander Gustafsson via anaconda choke in 2010. He beat the guy that took John Jones, that gave John Jones the toughest fight of his career, which I thought was going to be Daniel Cormier, but it ended up not being so. So Phil Davis contract negotiation. Look, man, it's going to be weird. I don't see the UFC letting him go, but I also don't see him laying down saying, okay, well, I'll take less money than I believe I deserve. So it might be a tougher negotiation for the UFC than I'm sure they anticipate. But and that's another weird thing about contracts. The fact that they do 5-fight contracts and all that, and usually a contract between two entities is rock solid, right? You see him in basketball. You had to buy somebody out of the contract to get him off the roster. The only place that guys can just get cut is places like the NFL and in the UFC, MMA, Bellator, all those. You can just cut guys. You can sign a 5-fight contract with them, with anybody, any fighter. And if you don't like their first fight, you can cut them right after if you really feel like it. You don't really have to give them a reason. So Phil Davis is going to come to the table knowing that the UFC doesn't find him exciting, and he's going to be like, look, man, you guys might cut me any day now, so I need to get paid for whatever fights I end up doing. I need to get paid real good.
Yeah, and sorry about that. A phone call came in for somebody that I'm trying to set in an interview with, so I apologize for that. But yeah, I think I agree with you. I think the fact that if he came in with a win or 2 wins, he's bargaining from a position of power. Here, I think the UFC has all the power because he's not a big draw. He's not, he doesn't have that resume where he's pulling wins off every single time. The only power though that is in Anthony Johnson or Anthony Davis's hand is if he goes and gets an offer sheet from Bellator, kind of like Gil Melendez did. Gil Melendez really didn't have any UFC draw. He got a huge offer sheet from Bellator, but the UFC wasn't about to let him, go and become part of their competitor. So they matched it. So I think for Davis, that's his biggest bet. His best bet is to try to leverage one company against another. Because let's face it, in the UFC, I think I said Anthony Davis earlier. Phil Davis is he's middle of the road, top 10 guy, somewhere in there. In most other organizations, he's a big name. It's like going from being a little fish in a big pond to a big fish in a little pond. So he's got to do what's best for him. He's got to try to leverage the UFC. But right now, if he's just dealing with them, the UFC's got all the power here. So that's definitely an issue that he's going to have to deal with. But now we had an interesting situation happen. and clearly, it didn't have any long-term effects of because he made the weigh-ins. But Frank Mir got detained at the airport with bullets in his luggage. What do you think about that?
Hey man, he got to Brazil with bullets in his bag. I'm more worried about what the hell our TSA agents are freaking doing. That that he gets out of California, wherever he's at, with bullets in his bag. Now he told Dana, he got detained. He had to call Dana White and explain that he switches bags all the time. He switches bags. He switches with training gear and whatever else he does, clothing and all that, and guns apparently and bullets. So it seems like it was an honest mistake. Look, Frank Mir is not completely stupid, I don't think, to be like, oh, I'm gonna put bullets in my bag in case I need them in Brazil. He's not gonna need that, first of all. That guy's surrounded by security right now, should be, and if not, he's a fighter, whatever. But there's no look. It's just a funny situation of taking having bullets left over in a bag you use for to take your guns out to the desert at some point. I've never done it. You know what I have had though is I got one of those little keychains with a bullet on it that has nothing in it anymore. You can't use it. But I had one of those and I actually got questioned by TSA one time, and I was like, it's a freaking keychain. So I'm surprised he got out of the States with it. With bullets in his bag. It was weird.
Yeah, I mean, if you travel anywhere, you can't get a nail file, you can't get nail clippers, you can't get a bottle of water, you can't get a bottle of shampoo. It's got to be, 3 ounces or less. How the fuck do you end up getting out of the country with bullets? I mean, they pass it through the scanner, they x-ray everything. How do you not see that? I mean, I don't know. I'm not a hunter, so I don't carry guns. I've never been into guns, so I'm not really sure how it all works out. But was he storing them in his luggage suitcase? I mean, as far as I knew, I thought anytime you travel with any type of guns, they go in, big locked cases, so that way, little kids can, pull out an AK-47 somewhere and, go crazy. But, all joking aside, was he traveling, to other places with just loose firearms in his luggage and bullets in his luggage? It's definitely a strange situation, and it would have been crazy to see what would have happened if he got detained and missed his flight or held back or lost his his visa privileges or anything like that. But it's just another one of those things. And it's not just Frank Mir and not the UFC. We hear about this in other sports as well. Guys, show up at the airport with a gun in their bag, and what are they thinking at this point? I mean, it's so clear and it's so, everybody knows you can't go anywhere with anything now. I can't clip my nails because, I wasn't allowed to bring my nail clipper with me. So who knows? But it's definitely, just a never-ending saga with the UFC, it seems, and you get this stupidity with getting, having bullets in your luggage. I don't get it at all.
It's the pampered. It's the rappers and the sports sports athletes. That's all it is. No one else is doing that shit. If I show up to the airport with bullets in my bag, believe me, they're not even gonna question me. I'm getting shot on the spot, okay? Just because I'm not a sport athlete and I don't got a bunch of money, so. And I'm just, I don't know for sure that's gonna happen, but still.
It's funny because that's what you think, but you'd be surprised how many people are actually, because I know somebody who works at an airport, not in the TSA, but works at one of the major airports in New York, and they've said you would not believe the number of knives and edged weapons and different things that they end up having to pull out of people's luggage because people are like, oh, I didn't know that was banned. How do you not know a fucking 6-inch Bowie knife isn't banned? What is wrong with you? But it's crazy. Like this Rambo-looking knife, and they're like, oh, I didn't know I couldn't take that with me. What are you thinking? But it's crazy what's out there. But that's the other thing, and not sticking up for just the UFC, but sticking up for all sports in general. All these sports entities are just microcosms of the entire country or the entire world at large. But they're just wrapped up in 500 people. So when 1 out of 500 people, something happens to them, it's big news. When one person out of 7 billion people, nobody cares about it. Nobody cares about it. But when that same ratio of people, gets busted for something in a major sports environment, it just seems so much more magnified because the sample size is so much smaller. So not shitting on Mir or anything like that, but these people really need to start, thinking a little bit clearer, thinking more ahead, so to speak. But
Yeah.
oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, it's just an honest mistake might be here. It's not a huge deal, but I'm just I don't know. It's gonna be one of those stories where you're just amazed that he got on a plane with it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So last thing we'll touch on before we just bullshit for a minute or two. We have the Sunday night card that's happening, which is an unusual card or unusual time for the card, so to speak. Why are they doing it on Sunday? Was there any type of you know totally blanking on the word here. Any type of explanation for why it's the Sunday night card? Is it just because it's in Brazil?
No reason has been given that I've heard yet, but I haven't researched it much. But yeah, it's a weird thing to have a Sunday card. I don't mind it. I'm going out of town for tonight, so I don't, while I'm, a drunken mess out in the bars of Tucson, I'm not gonna miss the card. But I get to watch it on Sunday. But as far as a reason for it, not really. Last time we got a reason for a Sunday card, it was because they wanted to use the NFL as advertising, right? To advertise an NFL game. So as far as why this time, no real reason, I don't think. I mean, maybe it was a scheduling thing with the place where they're having the fights at. I don't really 100% know. But while you run down the card, I'm gonna do something real quick. I'll be right back.
Yeah, no problem. All right. So as Eddie has said previously on other episodes, we have the fight card here in front of us, and I am going to do no justice to some of these names, not like Eddie usually does. But Douglas Silva de Andrade, he is taking on Cody Gibson, excuse me. Douglas is 22-1, 12-5, as you can see here on your screen for Cody Gibson. If you're watching this live, if you are listening, we'll just give you some of the stats. This is going to be a very interesting fight. You have a very seasoned competitor in Silva de Andrade, who has the 22 wins, going against the renegade Cody Gibson, coming in at 12 wins under his belt, but he's got the 5 losses. He's got significant strikes landed, is about twice what Douglas does. So it should be a very interesting fight here. One to keep an eye on, absolutely. Worth watching here on the prelim card. The other prelim card that we're looking at here is Josh Shockley coming in. He's 11-3 versus Ivan Jorge, who's 25-4. Now, if you just look at the picture here, again, for the people that are watching, you can see it. For the people that you can't, I'll give you a brief explanation of what we're looking at. We're looking at a guy with what looks like dusty, dirty dreads. A guy that, if you saw this guy in your local park, smoking a joint, hanging out, you'd never even think twice about it. Against a guy that kind of looks like he might be hanging out with Anderson Silva's trainer a little bit. And, just by the eyeball look or the eyeball test, this is definitely a one-way fight. If you look at the significant strikes per minute, Ivan, is it George or is it Jorge, Eddie? Is it Ivan Jorge or Ivan George?
I believe it's Jorge, but I mean, look, he's Brazilian. It could be anything, man. Your guess is as good as mine.
Exactly, but he's landing 4.4 strikes per minute. Now it doesn't sound like a lot, but it is, compared to Josh Shockley's 1.2 strikes per minute. That's a significant difference in fights there. And just think of this. In the 29 fights Ivan, we'll just call him Ivan, has, he's lost 4 times. Shockley's lost 3 out of 14. So this is definitely a fight that is not seeming to be in his best interest here. Then we have obviously the canceled fight, Wendell Oliveira versus T.J. Wahlberger. From what Eddie has told me, I believe you've said that both guys got paid their show money. Is that what you've heard?
That's right. They got paid their show money, and let me pull up the fight real quick because I can't see right now. the Silva, I believe the Silva de Andrade against Cody Gibson fight has been moved up to FS1 prelims. So we only get one UFC Fight Pass prelim, and that's going to be the Ivan Shockley fight.
Gotcha. Then we follow the Oliveira. We follow the Jorge Shockley, or which one did you just say? Silva de Andrade is going to be on the main card. We then followed that up with Thiago Traitor and Mike De La Torre. Il Kukui here going to be taking on the man with no nickname. But again, just looking at the pictures, and the pictures are obviously not a great thing. Eddie, you saw them live at the weigh-ins, so we'll touch back on that real quick as we look at some of these fighters. But this seems like a very even fight coming down. 19-4 to 12-5 are the records here, but significant strikes landed, absorbed per minute. They're pretty even straight down. So this definitely seems like it's going to be a good fight to watch. We have William Macario against Matt Dwyer. These guys are 8-2, 7-2, evenly matched on the record here. We've got the 100% of Matt Dwyer's wins have come by knockout or TKO. So this guy definitely comes to bang. He definitely comes to strike at 170 pounds. This seems like it's going to be a fun fight. And with a 5-inch reach advantage, it definitely seems like it's an opportunity for Matt Dwyer to add another win to his record here against William Macario. Then we have the headline for the Fox Sports 1 prelims, and this is going to be a sick fight, I think. Marion Renault, Jessica Andrade, this is going to be a fight that is fun to watch. Both of these girls come to fight. They both bring it when they do. We saw Marion Renault just recently take on, we mentioned it the other day, and I'm totally blanking on the name right now.
Alexis Dufresne.
Yeah, Alexis Dufresne, and just batter her. So, it was a completely dominant win. Jessica Andrade is ranked number 10. This is going to be a fun fight. Andrade has got a lot of clout behind her. She's 12-3. She's got a great career. This is going to be a fun fight. Look at the significant strikes. We talked about it briefly, and if you're watching, you can see it on the screen here, or if you watch this later, you'll see it on the screen. But Andrade lands a 6.92 significant strikes per minute. Marion Renault 5.67. That's more than twice what the average for the guys is. So these girls, as most of the girls, come to swing, and this is going to be an awesome fight to watch. Eddie, I'll kick it over to you for the main card here.
All right, talking about the main card. All right, starting off with Santiago Ponzinibbio against Sean Strickland. First of all, Sean Strickland cut his hair apparently because his old pictures are all of him with long hair. He should probably go back to that for the fact that he just looks like a run-of-the-mill Scottsdale douchebag right now. But anyway, that's just a crappy joke. Santiago, he's got advantages in that he's in Brazil. Okay, the Gentle Boa is gonna, even though he's from Argentina originally, he grew up in Brazil. So look, as far as the fight goes, Strickland's coming in 15-0, and Santiago 20-2. I think he's coming off a win. This fight's gonna go to the ground at some point. Of course, every fight starts off striking and everything. This fight's gonna go to the ground, so I think Santiago's gonna have the upper hand. After that, we get Yuri Alcantara, ranked number 8 in the bantamweight division against Frankie Saenz. Frankie is from Phoenix, Arizona, first of all, and he's a guy that's not going to back down to anybody. Alcantara has he doesn't have a height advantage or anything, but I believe obviously he's higher ranked. He's a higher caliber fighter. This is a big fight for Frankie. Frankie gets this win, he could potentially get himself in the top 15. And as we know now, as soon as that Reebok deal kicks in, that means money. But Alcantara, I think he's just too good overall. Has a ton of experience at 31-5 to Frankie's 9-2 record. After that, we get one of those scary freaking Russians that came out of nowhere and started beating the hell out of everybody. Rustam Khabilov, well, not everybody, but still. Rustam Khabilov taking on Adriano Martins. That should be a fun fight, in my opinion. I just like watching the Russians fight. All right, these guys freaking wrestle bears and grow up in probably the harshest environment known to man. So either way, I just love watching the Russians fight. Then Smiling Sam Alvey against Cesar Ferreira. Smiling Sam Alvey, that nickname fits completely. Walked into the weigh-ins with a big old smile on his face. He's on the scale with a big old smile on his face. And when they faced off, he had a big old smile on his face, and Cesar did not give two shits. He put his freaking forearm right under Alvey's chin, and is basically telling him like, "Hey man, you can smile all you want. I'm gonna kick your ass tomorrow." Then the co-main event, number 6 Edson Barboza against number 12 Michael Johnson. Both guys are look, they're evenly, as far as the skill goes, they have it. They have the ground game and the stand-up game. However, Edson Barboza, I believe he's a capoeira guy. He's just so dynamic with his striking to where Michael Johnson just doesn't back down. He gets in your face for the most part. So that one's going to be, I believe, a more fun fight than the main event's going to be. It's going to be two guys coming in to throw bombs. They want to put someone to sleep with their fists. They're not trying to choke anybody out. And look, I'm telling you right now, that's going to be the fight of the night right there. And then in the main event, of course, you get number 13 Frank Mir against number 8 Antonio Bigfoot Silva. Two guys coming off TRT. I don't believe either one has fought. Oh no, Antonio has fought without TRT, and he got the crap kicked out of him. So Antonio Silva against Frank Mir. Look, man, no matter how this fight goes, no matter who wins, I really do hope both of these guys hang it up. Frank Mir's already in that category. Excuse me. Of hanging on too long. He's if he's not in it already, he's on the edge of it. And Bigfoot Silva in his last fight showed that he slowed down big time, and he says he needs TRT for his health. That he has a legit medical reason for it, and I believe him. But look, he's gonna come in with he's gonna try to throw bombs. He's gonna want to knock Frank Mir out, but I think Frank Mir has the right game plan to take him out. I think he's gonna take this fight to the ground and sub him. By the third round, I believe. But here's what bothers me about this fight a little bit. Frank Mir came out and said that I guess I didn't need TRT. I guess all I needed was to change my training regimen. And so he's gonna come into this fight with a bit of a different training method, clearly because he's gained a ton of weight. Came in at 261, and so it's two super heavy guys that are gonna try and throw leather and try to end this fight as quick as possible. But again. And I persist, this is the real main event right here. Edson Barboza against Michael Johnson. Watch it and don't blink, because Barboza throws some spinning stuff. It's just, always fun to watch, always crazy. And Michael Johnson's the guy's not afraid of anybody. So, people need to make sure they watch out for that.
Yeah, definitely going to be, just an awesome. That fight alone is worth watching all the other shows, all the other ones. But I think if I heard you right, you're going Mir by submission in the main event. Is that what I heard?
I am, and I'm not even a Mir fan. In fact, frankly, I don't like Frank Mir. But if we're going just by fighting and by I guess an even opinion or whatever, unbiased opinion. There you go. I think he's gonna take this fight to the ground. I don't think he stays on the feet that long. That being said, I'm going with the fact that he got heavier. Maybe he's gonna try and be on top and ground and pound. So it's an interesting fight because it's two big names, two former champions, one in Strikeforce, the other one in the UFC. But at the same time, I'm just I'm not expecting much. I'm really not.
No, I think one of two things is gonna happen here. I also picked Frank Mir by I think it was submission second round. But it's either going to go submission real quick on the ground with Mir, who has a phenomenal ground game for a big guy. There's no doubt about that. Or he's going to go to sleep because he's got no chin. He's gotten the shit beat out of him. He's gotten put in bad positions, and it seems like when he goes into those bad positions, he freezes. He doesn't know how to get that out of him, and he just shuts down and absorbs punishment. And it's never worked out well for him. So. Hopefully maybe the new training regimen is figuring out how to get the fuck out of, off the cage, because that would be the best thing for his career at this point. As far as Edson Barboza and Michael Johnson, that it's definitely the fight that as I'm looking at the screen and I'm looking at the card and that's the one that my eyes keep coming back to, because Michael Johnson came out of The Ultimate Fighter, so we saw a lot of him, got to know him, and he's always been somebody who I felt. Was an exciting guy to watch. He brings it. He comes to fight. He comes to finish the fight. He's not just worried about taking decisions. and he's put himself out there a lot of times. If you look at his record, he's 16-8. Some of those losses are because he was going for the win. He was not afraid to put his neck out on the line, and unfortunately it didn't work out in his favor. But this should definitely be an excellent fight. But the 2 or 3 fights, I should say, I'm really looking forward to. This one clearly, Rustam Khabilov and Jessica Andrade. Those are the 3 fights that for the night. Those are the ones that my money's on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm with you on that for sure. And it's another card where people are, for some reason, not everybody, but a lot of people are like, oh, it's a weak card. It's free. Shut up and watch it. It's free. Enjoy it. You get Jessica Andrade, you get Edson Barbosa, and you get 2 legend, guys that are gonna end up going down as legends in the main event. So have some fun with it, and kick back with your friends for a free card. Spend that money on beer instead.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to sleep half my day away tomorrow because this is definitely going to be way past my bedtime on a Sunday night. That's the other thing with a lot of these cards. Somebody pointed out to me the other day, the majority of these cards are going past for us here on the East Coast, 1 o'clock in the morning at this point. So that's, what is that, 11 o'clock for you out there?
Right now for Arizona is 2 hours before that, so.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, about 11.
11 o'clock. Which for you guys seems, like that's probably, running late and, past what you're used to.
Yeah.
It used to be, the main event was done by midnight, and then it started slowly getting to where the main event was going on right around midnight. Now the main event is kicking off 12:30, 12:45, and we're watching the end of it at 1 o'clock. So I'm not sure how this is happening, why it's happening, if they're trying to push more fights, if they're just spacing out the time in between to fill all of the pay-per-view time that they're allotted. I'm not really sure, and it turned out poorly. If you remember back, I can't think of which card it was, but Joe Rogan was interviewing guys going, we're about to run out of time. The pay-per-view is almost over, so, real quick, what do you got to say? So they're still working on that, but we're definitely working on a real late night when it comes to, a Sunday night here. So I might have to just DVR this thing and watch it on Monday.
Do it. For sure, man. I'll end up staying up and watching it, but I'm working on Monday, and I know it's kind of a double-edged sword. I don't mind it going late, but I also got to get up super early on Monday for work. So
exactly.
it's gonna Monday morning's gonna suck anyway. But now I'm just gonna have a little less sleep.
Yeah, clearly. So, well, I got nothing else. We have some little off-topic things. We got the little cat fight brewing between Ronda Rousey and Ariana Celeste. I think this is like the second or third time these two have gone back and forth over stupid shit. I don't know if it's just Ronda, talking down to Ariane about how she's a poor role model for women, how this and that. But I think she's got a fair point on this one that the fighters should make more than the ring card girls do. I think that's pretty fair. I'm trying to think if there was anything else really that happened this week that we didn't really touch on.
Manny Pacquiao and Mayweather made it official.
Official.
Look, I'm in the unpopular opinion because apparently everyone's so excited about this fight. I'm like, yeah, 5 years ago it would have been awesome. Fuck. I don't care. I really don't. And it sucks. I'm still going to watch it. I'm just not going to pay for it. I'm going to go somewhere and watch it with somebody else where I'm not dropping the dime for it. 5 years ago, you get damn right I'm spending the money to watch that. And look, before I became an MMA fan, I was big. That's weird. Sorry. I don't know if you guys get this in the East Coast, but we got Mormons on bikes out here knocking on doors. Anyway, anyway, what was it? I forgot my point. Oh yeah, so Mayweather Pacquiao. 5 years ago, I'd have paid for it. Now Pacquiao's lost already, and Mayweather's had some decisions or wins. Not even I'll take that back. He had the wins where he just, he just, I want to say running away, but he's not fighting anyone that can fight back. I was excited when he fought Canelo, when he fought Alvarez, and because I thought Canelo was gonna knock him out and catch him with a hit. Mayweather just kind of ran away the whole time and just counterpunched. So it's I'm not excited about the fight at all, but I'm still gonna watch. It's kind of a novel thing for me now. But man, the boxing world's like, finally we get to make money, yeah, because it's $250 million fucking dollars.
Yeah, what was the stat that's more than the UFC has paid out from 2006 to 2011 or something like that? Some crazy.
Yeah, think of the guys that have fought within that span. All right,
Yeah.
GSP and all those other guys were already fighting at that point. So Chuck Liddell and all them. So, damn. All right, that's look. I'm assuming that both guys are retiring after this fight because you don't look. If you make that kind of money, you're not gonna get punched in the face ever again. You shouldn't
No,
anyway.
definitely not.
No reason.
Definitely not. And my thing, I won't even watch the fight to be honest with you. I when I was younger, before UFC, before MMA, I was getting into boxing, enjoying it because it was a combat sport. But once MMA came out, and to me, boxing is an incomplete art because they don't worry about takedowns, they don't worry about leg kicks. I understand it's an aspect of fighting, but to me, it's just one aspect of it. I would much rather watch a BJJ match or something like that than a boxing match. But that's just me, and I know that a lot of people are still into boxing. But yeah, I could give a shit about this fight. Just it's sickening the amount of money that these guys are pulling to go in there and fight though. It's really crazy.
Man,
But
look, man, I should have skipped college and just stuck to boxing. I boxed a little when I was younger, so that was it was fun. But again, the head trauma you get, there's really no reason for it. And then when I was training MMA, and sparring, again, no reason for head trauma. So now I just I hit I hit the bag and I roll around some BJJ and all that. It's fun and everything, but man, college is such a waste of time. If you're gonna make $250 million, I should have just stuck to the freaking boxing gym and accepted a little bit of brain damage.
yeah, it's pretty crazy, no doubt about that. But I got nothing else for today. You got anything else? All right.
Uh, no, sir, nothing. Gonna do some interviews on Sunday. That's gonna be fun. Bad decisions kind of up in the air for that because of those interviews, depending on how long they go. But I am planning to do the show still. Just gonna be at a different time. Oh yes, we and I'm sure you're probably gonna plan to say this anyway afterwards. But we are on iTunes now, which is awesome. So you can go on iTunes, search Crossbones MMA Radio, and click the subscribe button and get us automatically on your computer. So that's pretty badass.
Yeah, absolutely. It's iTunes.com/Crossbones MMA Radio. Make sure you add the radio in there, or else you'll have a little bit of an issue finding it. But that is going to end today's show, episode 43. 7 away from 50, 57 away from 100. We could go on forever like that. But I am at MMA John G. He is at Elaw31. Our third guy, Nick, is at Nick X Micro. The show is at Crossbones MMA. We have two guys that do some writing on the website, at CBMMA_Don and at SPWAT1983, who I believe is going to be heading over to Invicta FC11 for us, doing some coverage for us there. So keep an eye open for some news on that. That should be fun. As always, though, the show is sponsored by the website crossbonesmma.com. Head over there for all your news and all your updates, and check out our store and affiliates page for Onnit, NatureBox, F3 Foods, DraftKings, Amazon.com, and Troxafin. But without any further delay, that's today's show for this week or for this Saturday. Tune into Bad Decisions whatever time it comes out tomorrow. Check out iTunes.com/CrossbonesMMA Radio. Check out Stitcher. Look us up on Stitcher at CrossbonesMMA.com or at Crossbones MMA Radio. The old feed, I think, is going to be dead and void, so check out the new one when you get the chance. And if you guys ever have any questions, hit us up. Use the hashtag #Ask5Rounds on Twitter. We'll get it just like you heard today when we had the one guy tweeting the question. We'll make sure we get you the answer right away. So until next time, we'll be keeping our eyes open and our ears out, listening and keeping an eye out for all the latest news and nuggets to bring to you. Until next Wednesday, this has been 5 Rounds with John and Eddie. Peace.